Welcome in, everybody, to another game from the Every Team Cup. It's, oh my goodness, we went right into that skull's nostrils. We're coming into this one. It's Thulian, Team England's Thulian, taking on Sultai's Chaos Chosen in this one. We were just saying this before we started the YouTube video, but as I realized, I need to share my screen with Dizzy, by the way. We were just saying this before I jumped into this one. But Soultide is definitely a less experienced coach compared to Thelian. Was saying to me before, they've only been playing for less than a year. So let's keep that in mind as we watch this one, because it's an Every Team Cup and it's also an All Experiences Welcome Cup. I'm sure they're probably going to do perfectly well after I said that, but they asked me to keep that in mind, and I think it's fair to mention it, because people can be very critical sometimes watching other people. I'm sure I do it sometimes as well. You have to keep people's experience in mind, don't you?
I think it also helps shape the way that you talk about things as well, because we obviously see the game very differently to somebody who's less experienced, because we've played so many games and such. So there might be something we spot that we can go, oh, this is something you can think about for the future, and really turn it into a bit of a learning experience, rather than just oh, you've done this wrong, that wrong, and yeah, it can be a really interesting way of looking at games, I find.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of hellos, so to people in chat. Galentio, I think I already said hello to Ajax and Bloodborne, Puppet Justice, Hey, Magiot, JD Whitey, Christopher. JD Whitey, I already said it to Ajax, but really fun game between you two yesterday. Fun to watch back on your streams. But yes, Bloodborne encouraged me, in fact, to do a replay cast of that one, but replays aren't working at the moment. I'm going to cross my fingers that we get a patch before too long to fix some of that, because it's a bit of a shame for this tournament that you can only get the games when they're live. It'd be more fun to do some recaps as well, especially because we have people in all different time zones as well. We have people playing in American time zones, in Australian time zones, and in European time zones, who we've handily put together in groups to fit that, which will not last past the group stage, but does mean there's a bunch of games happening at bad times for me to cast at the moment. Fiendish very.
Unfortunately, we can't be awake 24/7.
Nice. I'm already casting way more games early in this tournament than is going to be sustainable. I'm just going to say that. I'm very glad that some other people are casting games too. I'm very glad that coaches like JD Whitey and Ajax and Bloodborne, who are all in chat, are casting their own games, because it means I get to watch some without casting them all.
I was going to say, I can also take up any casting you need me to.
Definitely.
I'm not playing myself, but we'll be able to pop on, because I'm slowing down in work now, so
yeah,
I'll absolutely be able to jump on at times.
Well, I mean, first of all, Dizzy, definitely feel free to, if you spot any on the Discord that aren't being picked up, feel free to grab them that way. But if I see any that I can't get to that I think would be good, I'll definitely mention them. I appreciate there's a lot of Discords and a lot to keep track of, so I don't expect everyone to see everything all the time. So it looks like Thelian, I'm guessing, won the coin toss and went offense first. I don't know if we get that information here. Yes, he did. Has a very nice, I reckon this is a Team England type of strip, the white and the red, like the England football team.
Oh, yes.
And also definitely a nice paint scheme on it from Soultide as well. First thing both coaches have got right.
Yeah. Looking at the skills as well, it looks like a pretty interesting matchup. Way more guard on the humans, I think. Oh no, I thought the ogre had guard from second then, so it doesn't.
Yeah, the human ogre doesn't, but the chaos ogre does. I think I should really have gone straight at that when we came into the game. Good catch, Tizzy, for picking it up. So I think the human build is, I would say, like reasonably like standard for what you'd probably expect with this sort of pack.
Yeah.
Like you take guard on. I think it's really normal in tournament play to see humans take guard on 3 of their 4 blitzers. Ooh, double skull for Thelian on
Ooh.
turn 1 has got. Is that an extra reroll from the kickoff? I think because 4 I don't think they had, but they might have done. No, it's a high kick, so they might have had 4. Is there a leader?
Yeah.
No, it might have been 4 rerolls on the roster. It must have been. But yeah, I think 3 guard and then 1 punching blitzer basically is quite standard for humans. And this blitzer's got, whoa, double
Ooh,
skulls
that's another
again.
one.
Gonna think about this
That's a
because on your
rough
offensive drive,
start.
yeah, you don't want to spend these too cheaply. But I think it's not even so much that that you're worried about the position here because Thulian has got the ball safe. They've put a screen in front
Yeah.
of it. It's just the feeling of you're going to take an armor roll here on an important player. You're almost certainly going to give up an extra hit here somewhere. That is the question you're asking here. But Thulian is going to show the discipline and not re-roll it. But yes, as I was saying, so 3 guard and a mighty blow is quite standard because of the rules for this one. He can have a stack as well. And on the chaos, we let them have a couple of stacks, which I think all the chaos teams did slightly different things with. Soul Tide has gone for the bashy version of taking 2 mighty blow blockers, which I don't hate at all.
Yeah.
1 guard
2
blitzer.
tackle as well, which is interesting.
2 what? Sorry.
2 tackle players.
Yeah,
I don't usually like. I hear people talk about tackle, but usually it's only 1 that they'll add on if they've, unless like they've already got key skills like block and mighty blow and guard. If they've already got those, then tackle will be maybe a multiple choice, but not when there's not block already on those pieces. So that's an interesting choice there.
Definitely. I think it really depends what you expect to see. We gave a very generous pack to the chaos. I can't remember exactly how many it was. I was actually just trying to look, see if I could put it up while I'm chatting.
If you're anticipating lots of elves and stunties, then 2 tackle is very nice.
Yeah, so we gave them 9 primary skills, 1 secondary skill, and 2 stacks. So as I said, they took the 2 stacks to give them block and mighty blow. And then the secondary, have they not taken the secondary, or am I missing the secondary somewhere? Because they haven't put block on the ogre, so they might have just not taken it. You're not. It's not obligatory to take a secondary. If you can always just take another primary, so they might have just not taken it. If you're not going to put block on the ogre, there's not an obvious choice for the secondary, I don't think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I think they've just taken all primaries, which is fair enough. Tackle is an interesting one. With that many skills, I don't hate having 1 tackle because it's really definitely going to help you against elves and gutter runners sometimes. But I think we talked about this on another stream the other day about lizards and taking tackle instead of block. And I think in general, I tend to think block is just that bit more versatile, and it's only really against blodgers that you feel the benefit of tackle. And I might also, given that they have strength axes, have thought about just taking another guard because guard's really good. But this does give you a lot of pitch coverage to tackle. So now if the humans go left or right, you've got the catchers. You can target them with these tackle pieces. Yeah, wrestle's another choice you definitely could have made. Galentia is saying in chat, which does something similar to the tackle. So it gives you that option of sacking blodgers. And maybe 1 wrestle on the team would also have been a way to go with that and just give yourself a bit of variety in the pack.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things though that we don't really you kind of very early on get told block, or you find out how good block is.
Yeah, block's a good
and
skill.
then some skills after that. So when it comes to actually skilling teams early on, you either go for very like the very obvious ones, or if you're not entirely sure, you don't really know what is good
Mm.
or what isn't good. So, I remember when I first started looking at all these skills, thinking, "Oh my goodness, what do any of these do?" So,
Yeah.
if they found that one like tackle has worked for them, it can be tempting to take it more than once.
It's also like an interesting thing about like the fact we've given Chaos more skills than they normally get. Like part of the goal was
Yeah,
trying to balance the teams is like actually you give someone more skills, it's more choices to make. But I want to like say like to even though we've talked about Saltide saying that maybe they're a new coach and to go easy on them, like I think so far they've played very sensibly. Like their defensive formation was definitely not the sort of formation I would expect from someone who's brand new to the game or anything like that. They did a pretty good formation for giving the humans not the easiest blitzes, which is why it's almost a shame we never got to see where Thulian was going to use the blitz because of the double skulls. I was curious to see exactly what Thulian was going to do with it. So
yeah, yeah. So the Thurian's going down the sideline a little bit here, which is feels a little bit risky. Um,
I was just wondering if there was a chain onto the cage there. I think there could have been, and this is definitely one where I would say maybe there still is. No. So if this blocker here had blocked this wrestle one first, I think you then had a box where if you take this ogre hit and push into the
yeah.
box, you can push that onto the cage. I think it's moved on now, so I'd
Um,
have to go back and check it. Um,
but yeah, I mean, there's enough players around there
yeah,
that yeah, you probably could have done something.
I
Um,
think that box could have been maybe used because I think it maybe even still could. I wish I could pause. If you run these two beastmen around to here, then you hit here. This is a complete box. So this would be pushing into the box here. You
mm,
push that one, it goes into that one. This one pushes into
yeah.
that one, it goes there. So you can still do it. You need to put both of your
I
beastmen
don't think you even need
around
to
here.
move any. I don't think you even need to move any because you could push from the diagonal, couldn't you?
Which one?
That guard one that you're on now, you
But
could
at the
blitz
moment it
that
goes
one.
into this square.
No, it doesn't, because if you're pushing from the diagonal, the lower
Oh, you
diagonal.
blitz. I'm trying to save the blitz because then you can blitz the ball carrier. But
Oh,
you
right,
could,
I
you're right. You
see.
could just do the blitz here and get the hit on that one. You could do
Yeah.
that.
I was thinking
Uh,
of just like just basing the cage and just getting
oh.
breaking the cage. But yeah, if you're trying to
No, I
save
mean,
the
like,
blitz,
yeah, you
yeah,
definitely could do
not
what
really
you're doing
blitz,
and
yeah.
oh, and put a strength 4 player on the ball, which is a problem for humans right away, right? Like the guard is tied up and they've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
so like what you're doing is also going to put them under some real pressure. Um, but yeah, you were just saying about Thulian going down the sideline, and I think it's one of the things I really like about humans is they've got a lot of speed, so they can switch sides. Um, no one's rolling knockdowns, by the way. Like everyone's rolling pushes. Um, but yeah, so you can switch sides, but there is always a danger, like especially with all the edge 3, that you just get glued down, and if you can't make those dodges, you can get in
Chaos
trouble.
aren't too slow either, really. Like compared to humans, I mean the blockers, yes, they're movement 5, so they are slightly less. But if you keep them quite central, then the goats can pretty decently keep up with the humans.
Yeah,
Because it's going to take you a little bit to go back before you go sideways.
yeah, you definitely can't just like scoot around them in one go. And they're definitely like not the slowest team. Like they're faster than a bunch of teams. But I think people underestimate how fast humans are because they've got movement 7 on all the blitzers and movement 8 on the catches. Like that's basically as
Oh,
fast as
I
an
always
elf
forget the
team.
captain's movement 8.
Yeah. Um, it's one of the things I really enjoy about them is the speed. I feel like maybe you've done Thulian a slight favor there by freeing up that blitzer because that gives you more flexibility to switch sides. I think we're going to see the side switch. Um,
Yeah, because he's committed 3 goats to that front. Well, they're quite far back for the chaos, far forward for the humans.
mm,
So,
Galentio
hey,
saying,
Day.
"Hey, can we pitch with white? We could also go to the. Is that easier for everyone?
Oh, that's clearer.
That might be clearer for everyone. It does take away weather effects from the visual, but if we do that, but I think I'm pretty sure we have none for this moment.
Yeah, I get the feeling it was nice.
Yeah,
With all
perfect conditions.
yeah.
So let's just have this. It is easier to watch, isn't it? Especially if you're watching on a small screen like a phone.
Yeah, I think movement is almost one of the most underrated stats. And what I mean by that is, so for example, when you look at an undead team, there's a big debate about whether you take zombies or skeletons, and everyone talks about the armor. But for me, the greatest asset of the skeletons is that movement 5. If they've been lying down on the floor, they can then move 2 squares, which it doesn't sound like a lot because it isn't, but they can really be put into useful positions. So
It's a big difference over one square. That's the point. It's not a lot, but it's a big difference
yeah,
over one square.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So I think movement is definitely something that it can be a lot better than people really anticipate it to
So
be.
Thelian's
There we
using
go,
the
knocked
chains
down.
here. Yeah. I think like it's really interesting because I'm not always the best at bash teams either, but I think it was like the choice that Soultide made to there've been no knockdowns all game, but finally gets one, and it's a big KO right away on an AV 10 plus strength 4 piece. That's a big removal to get rid of one of those ones, and it's one of the 2 that has the stack as well.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, this is like one of those things where I'm aware that this is definitely not the strongest part of my game either, right? Like the basey stuff, but I understand why Soultide might have had the instinct to push all of the blitzers off contact at the end of that last turn, which is kind of what they did.
Yeah.
But I do think it maybe allowed Thulian more flexibility for repositioning, because Thulian was a little bit squeezed here, actually. I think that
I was quite surprised at how quickly Julian went down the sideline, to be honest.
yeah,
I thought he was going to hold a little bit more central, a bit longer. So I
it's a
was
it's a
interested to
tricky
see what the
dynamic.
plan was.
It's a tricky
Yeah,
dynamic because, like, humans, even with the guard, you are very aware that you can just get a bit strength bullied with chaos. And so I
yeah,
quite like the healthy idea of just testing each side until you find one where you can go. But what I was worried for with Thulian's position was that a lot of the players were based in the middle. So in theory, you could come back, but if you had to make some dodges, it could go wrong really quickly. And that's why I think actually, like, the fact that they got freed up at the end kind of did him a big favor.
yeah,
Which I say a big favor. That makes it sound like it's really dramatic. It wasn't like a huge thing. I think it was like a slight favor, maybe, in terms of flexibility for this time. So gets a KO there. I don't know why that was a blitz with because you have the Mighty Bow tackle right here. I don't know if that's because they planned to put that somewhere else, but because it would have actually been a casualty with the Mighty Bow one.
yeah,
And it would have been a safer blitz because, of course, with block it wouldn't have been as likely to turn over. But does get the removal on a guard blitzer. So big removals there for both teams. Actually, both of those are meaningful pieces that got taken off. And if you can get rid of that guard as the chaos, then suddenly you really can just get up in their faces really easily, right? Because the guard is the only thing that allows the humans to punch you back, because the strength is all basically lower except for the ogre. Data reckons the movement increase from 4 to 5 is one of the most significant. When knocked down, movement 4 has 1 square, movement 5 has 2, which is a 100% increase. I mean, I think 3 to 4 is, as Galentia says, maybe like another really big one, just because, like, yeah, if you get knocked down, pushed back and knocked over, then you don't have to roll to just stand up and be basing your opponent. But then I could say that 2 to 3 is even bigger, right? Like, because I get Treeman on my Wood Elf teams, and if you can get that movement increase on them, like it's just completely like life changing. Like you can just get them up. You don't have to roll a 4+ every time to make them stand up. So
Yeah. Oh,
it's just always good movement. I'm like a huge like movement's
yeah.
amazing
It
person.
really does. It's not something you really think about. Everyone looks at strength or armor value over most things, and if you're looking for your more agi teams, you're looking at agility as well. Movement quite often, like gutter runners, one of the best pieces in the game because they have that movement 9. Yes, they're quite weak, but they can basically go anywhere they want to.
Yeah, I mean, Gatron are like one of the very best players in the game, right? Which isn't just
Yeah,
because of the movement. The agility is obviously a huge part of it as well. But I think it's definitely movement. People don't always see its value as much, and actually, it's a thing which I hear a lot from people who are neuro and wood elves. Is they they're oh my god, that's at
oh
least the
my
third double
god,
skull Booleans rolled this half. I don't know if I
yeah.
missed one. Um, but I see
I think you're
people
right.
who are reluctant to take the wood elf catches because they're strength 2, and I think people think, oh, that's too fragile, it's going to be too easy to get. Um,
Yeah,
but the extra point of movement, even at that point, even going from 7 linemen to 8 on your catches, it's huge. It makes such a difference.
yeah. Well,
Um,
I've had several moments with my absolute favorite star player, Acorn the
mm,
Squirrel, where he's been a little bit further away, and people just kind of dismiss him. And
mm.
several times I've had like people be, oh, like
What
he's
is
no threat.
Acorn's movement? I haven't
He's
taken
movement
Acorn in
7.
ages. Is he?
He's movement
Uh-huh.
7, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it's not the best up movement, obviously, but it's still significant. And when you're on a team where everyone's movement is 5 or lower,
Mm.
that movement 7, you can really feel it,
Yeah.
and he just becomes an absolute menace, and it's one of the reasons I love it so much.
So humans getting stuck into this fight here.
Yeah, the
Nice
box
turn
is
with the
integrated. We've become boxless
yeah.
around the ball, which some people say the box isn't a good defense. Sorry, not
Which
defense.
box do you
Wait,
mean?
it's not
Oh,
good.
what, like
No,
the cage? Yeah,
cage.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
word I was looking for. A cage.
Yeah, Thulium
Cage and a
has
box is the same thing, right?
Thulium went straight into a cage, didn't he, when he pushed up on this sideline? But now
Yeah,
we get this shape, which is much more. It's not really a screen because they're too close together to call it like a. Well, I suppose it is a screen. It's just a very tight screen. Like I tend to think of a screen having some gaps between it, but it's almost just like, well, it is just like a straight line, isn't it? Which when you've got that bit of guard, you can leverage, can work for you. Um,
yeah.
I I like this shape much better than where he was at the start of the drive because you have got a lot of flexibility to go either side. At the
Yeah.
moment, there's quite a lot of speed with the blitzes and the catches on this side, and I do think that Soul Tide needs to just do something to acknowledge that, which is what you're doing there. Another double skull. This
Oh,
game has been crazy. Oh my goodness.
oh wow.
Oh my goodness.
The block dice are on. They're just like, we
Mm,
don't want to play a game. We don't want to play any Blood Bowl. We just want to have
yeah.
everybody to lie down.
Hmm. Hey, Jimmy. Uh, yes, I know that lots of people don't like the skeletons on undead teams, and Jimmy is giving it a not what I would have done in chat. Um, but I don't know. I don't play undead enough to say, but I think I'd like one skeleton at least because I think it allows a bit more flexibility on the positioning. Um,
Yeah. I think also like everyone has their opinions, and I don't. I'm of the belief that there is no perfect way to have a team because it all depends on the person who's playing the team, right?
I agree with
Like
that a lot. I agree with that a lot. I think
it's
there's
so
always
personal
there's always
to your
things
play
that
style.
get like
Yeah,
described as like um there's always like things that get like become the meta, right? There's always things that become like agreed
yeah,
on, and I think that's often because like for most people that is right. So like for instance, Dark Elves we've got in this tournament a few times, and they're basically all like very similar builds, and I think that build is generally going to work best for most people. But
yeah,
I don't think any of them have taken the assassins. And then you look at PW, who plays Dark Elves incredibly well and is on Team England, and he'll take 2 assassins. And I think that
Yeah.
that like thing of like there's always different ways to play is actually like if anything, I think that gets more true when you get to like really experienced players. You see like some coaches have things that they do differently. The World Championships last year is a great example as well, because I think at the start a lot of people were at that time still looking at Diomed taking 1 werewolf and thinking that seemed crazy, but then actually Diomed was so successful with it, a lot of people have looked at it since and gone, that was really good.
Well, when Bang Average Chicken Bowl 2, the Corn team that Day had was very different to the Corn team that I think Davo and a couple of other people took.
Was it? Do you remember what was
Yeah,
different?
yeah. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember people saying to me, and Andy specifically saying, "Oh no, that's wrong. That shouldn't be what you take." And then Day won,
Then Day
and
Day
it's like,
won.
it's so personal.
What's the plan here? I wondered if that was going to be the blitz, which would allow Thulian to get that player forward, but I guess he's done what I probably would have done, which is be greedier and see if you can get that block and blitz somewhere else. Now that hasn't knocked over, I wonder if this is a blitz. Maybe even a dodge blitz. I didn't say it last term, but I was thinking last term we haven't had either of these ogres go bonehead yet, and that is the first one.
That's our first one, yeah.
So now I wonder if you complete the cage. I would be tempted to complete the cage and then try the dodge this blitzer as a last action and kick that, because at the moment you've got a base cage, which is not great, but you don't want to risk anything before you close this. So I think that's what I'm looking at here. It is tough sledding with humans, you know. Even a top coach like Thulian, it's tough sledding sometimes because you have got a team that's basically very average at everything, right? Strength 3 and middling armor, average at everything except for the speed, as I was saying before. Oh, okay.
Uphill.
Goes for the uphill instead. And this was the blitz. Does roll the skull. Does put the reroll into it and gets it.
Okay.
Last reroll now for Thulian. This is getting scary. Has not had good blocking dice, I have to say, all game. Although there have been a couple of double skulls the other way too. No one's had good blocking dice. It's just been a weird bad blocking dice game.
Yeah.
I have to let that go now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof, and a big KO.
Oh, that's annoying.
Really easy to say with hindsight, like super easy to say with hindsight, but I do wonder, and I think I actually would have probably done a lot of the same things as Thulian, which is why I say I am talking with hindsight. But with hindsight, I wonder if having used this as the blitz instead of the block on this first one and just getting this player forward a few squares would make you feel a bit better about the position, because it is going to be turn 6 next and the humans are still stuck on their side of the pitch. They're now down a player, and I think we're going to see a lot of chaos on the cage this turn. It's going to be an uncomfortable turn coming up, I think. Another double skull. Oh my god.
I can't believe how many we're seeing.
I think that's 3 double skulls each now. I think. I could be wrong. And it's only turn 5. It's at least 2 for the chaos, and it's at least 3 for Thulian. It's possible that I've miscounted one or more either way on top of that. But crazy game for double skulls. And I also think that you probably did have to re-roll that, as Sortai did, because like if you didn't, the humans wouldn't get a free chance to move forward, and you have a great chance to pressure this turn. So really difficult. Difficult spot for both now. I mean, you'd always rather be playing defense with no rerolls and offense, because offense you're trying to convert your drive and it just feels so awful, but you don't really want to do either.
Yeah, the humans are looking a little bit trapped now.
Good.
Oh, even getting 3 dice there.
Yeah, when you're out of rerolls, getting 3 dice is always a nice way to go. This is 1 dice or 2 dice if you go this way, so we're probably not hitting the tackle mighty bow. If you're hitting anything, you're hitting that one. I was going to say, do you even think about not throwing the block because of the 1 in 9 risk, but they have taken it and have got a good outcome for it. So,
yeah, Thulian has
Thulian started with 4 and now has 3, yeah. But Thulian didn't spend a reroll on all of his double skulls because he had 2 on turn 1 and he ate the second one. So yeah, he's had at least 3 double skulls because there were 2 on turn 1. Which is crazy.
Madness. Absolute madness.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if this should have not been a follow. Because I'm not saying it's good, because it definitely isn't. But I wonder if, for the humans now, you've got to try and take this push. Like, I'm almost thinking about throwing a 1 dice here so that you can make this a blitz and then send both these players through afterwards and get some sort of screen out. It's really uncomfortable, but the other choice is bring that there, make it a 2 dice. You can bring this one, dodge this one. Oh my god, immediate fail on the first dodge.
And that's reroll. It doesn't. Oh, I was gonna say,
yikes!
At the back, that goat that's got tackle. I don't think that's marked, is it? Behind everything.
Which one? Here.
The other one. The other one.
Oh, right behind. Yeah, that is. I mean, this is now.
That one would have been free.
This is. I mean, this is now all sorts of problems for humans. Obviously, the ball's double based, and the only thing is for the chaos, if you roll a double skull, you give it straight back. So you really want to think about turn ordering and trying to start as much as you can on 3 dice here, which that is not a 3 dice, but is a POW.
Reef gets the POW.
And a KO. Ooh. Boy, this is looking bad for the humans now.
Yeah. Thank you, Day-Day.
Yep. Day-Day communicating with Dizzy via Twitch chat.
My phone is right here. He could text me.
That's a 1 in 9, but we've got block.
Yep.
Humans don't. Another oh my goodness. This could very quickly become not just a failed drive, but an incredibly difficult position for Thulian if these KOs don't come back.
Yeah.
Really, really rough. I mean, it's...
How many humans are left now?
Well, they're down 1, 2, 3, 4, so 7. I had 2 on the bench. So few scary hits without block going in here, but I mean, I guess you're going to take them.
Yeah, a little scary.
We have used our blitz, of course, to blitz ball. That's fair enough, because otherwise we could have served this. Doesn't look like the Chaos are going for recovery this turn, just going for swamping it all, which could maybe leave Thulian with a dice roller's chance to do something. Like, you've got a player here who can get up and get into scoring range at least. But yeah, pretty grim.
Lots of pushes being thrown in the last couple of blocks.
Bubble Nut says Charles Leclerc, a Formula One driver, their girlfriend had to sub to him to get him to open the door for on stream. That's mean. I must have been very, very involved in his stream. What do Formula One drivers stream? Is that, do they stream like racing car games? didn't hear the doorbell. So guard comes in here. This looks like we're going to try to scatter the ball, but we're not going to scatter the ball because we rolled a 1 in 9. Got wrestle at least, so it's not a turnover. Yeah, I assume we were looking for a push here and hoping you get kind scatter and can go somewhere with the catcher. I mean, it's hard not to feel bad for Thulian with how these dice have been the last few turns. I know that Soul Tides had the double skulls too, but
through.
Yeah. It just feels like Thulian's failed like every different kind of dice, right? Like they failed 3 sets of double skulls, and then there was the uphill didn't get work, which is basically a 3+. I had to re-roll that. And that 3+ dodge away was an immediate 1 in 9. It has been lots of different ways to fail everything, which is rough. Especially when you came armed with 4 rerolls, you think you can cover a lot, but you can't cover everything.
Yeah.
And that is humans. That's one of the reasons why humans.
Another failed dodge.
That was a tough one. It was a 4+, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of human steel, isn't it? Like humans are a bit average at most things, and that means that sometimes you get the bad side of average. It's not the word I'm looking for, Jimmy. It may be the word you're looking for.
Finally diplomatic over here.
It's one of the reasons why you don't see humans win as many tournaments, and it's one of the things that's really interesting about this tournament. We set out very deliberately to try to make the teams more balanced. We just try to design packs that make all of them as balanced as we can. But there are some things you can't change, right? Like humans are agility 3, and sometimes agility 3 is going to feel really bad. They are all strength 3, and sometimes strength 3 is going to feel really bad, even if you get a bunch of guard on it. So it's tough. So one thing I would like to see from Soul Tide is a scoring threat, because this is turn 7 and they haven't got any rerolls. So if you don't get the scoring threat in now, you're not going to have it. It's true, Apostasis. Not all humans. Hashtag not all humans. Some of them are strength 2. One of them's an ogre. Yeah, I'd like to see that. Yeah, and that's why you move your scoring threat in. There you go. There's a learning point right there. You put your scoring threat in before you go for the pickup, because that way, if you fail the pickup, you've got a scoring threat still to have another go next turn. And this way, there is sadly no scoring threat for next turn.
It's a hard lesson to learn, but it's one we've all learned through doing it wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
As well as the other one being not to throw unnecessary blocks on your scoring turn, so turn 8 or turn 16.
Well, some of us still haven't learned that lesson. Some of us will still make that mistake sometimes.
Sometimes you need to be burnt quite harshly in order to learn that lesson.
Yeah, I think Thulian will be breathing a sigh of relief about getting away at 0-0 here. Gives him some chance still to rescue the win or the draw.
We have a Collie!
Collie! Hey, Collie. Halftime OJ, I mean, that is like a really interesting question, and it's actually like a fair one to ask here, because I think if you, from the situation that we were in at the end of that term, which I'd rewind to if we could, the position that Soul Tide was in was a question of, if I don't pick it up on this player right away, I'm going to have to do rushes to pick it up on this one, right? Because this one's not quite in scoring range. I think that was avoidable by planning your blitz to give you the extra player, right? Because you had a lot of players on the same level here who were all movement 6. So I think Jimmy's put it in a very succinct way, but I think you could have avoided being in the position where your only options were pick up on the movement 6 player, or have the movement 6 player in scoring range. I think you could have moved one movement 6 player into scoring range and then gone to pick up with a second one if you'd planned that turn a
It's
little
a
differently.
mixture of planning and your turn ordering, isn't
Yeah,
it? Like making sure, okay, who is going to be the one picking up the ball? So can I do a block with this player? No.
yeah.
Right. So who else can do that block? And then so on and so forth, and like figuring out that who's going to move to be in scoring. Oh my
Another
God,
double
there's
score.
another double score.
Oh my god, that could have been a
And
3
that's the
dice.
half.
So again, like little things, and this is trying to like say this stuff because Soltide did say like interested in pointers. They are, as we said earlier, a bit of a less experienced coach. That could really easily have been a 3 dice block. You had
Yeah.
players free that were next to that, so you could really easily have brought in an extra player to avoid that being a 2 dice block. So
I have to say though, what other way could we have ended that half?
yeah, I mean, fitting, definitely fitting. Um, KO rolls, we're back to 11 as the humans, but one of those 11 is a halfling, and one of the guard blitzers is out. So better than nothing, but still slightly weakened.
Most likely, half-time OJ, yeah, you'll move the ball, the scoring threat first, and again, though, the problem is it all depends on the circumstances and the
Yeah,
context. Like every game is different. There is no two games of Blood Bowl that are exactly the same and go the exact way. The dice make sure of that. So
yeah,
one game you might be in a position and the dice work for you, you can do it. Another time you might be in a similar position and the dice don't work for you, so you don't do it. Like
yeah.
it's all relative to what's going on in the game and things like that. So
Yeah, like you're looking at so many different things. Like you're looking at on that last turn. It's really easy advice for me to say always put your scoring threat in first. It's the same advice as saying always make your safe moves first, right? It's really good general
yeah,
advice to follow, but every game, as Izzy just said, looks different. By the way, I don't realize, only just realized the Chaos didn't get their KO back either, which is a big one. It's
we've also got
block 95.
guard blitzer for the humans is still out.
Mm,
So yeah,
yeah. Um, so like the best advice in Blood Bowl is pretty much always it depends, right? Like it depends on everything.
which is the
Um,
frustrating thing about Blood Bowl because people want specifics about it. So
yeah. Um, but like you know, this is not all big cash off the line.
yes, OJ, because because there were two turns and you needed to have somebody who was enough squares away. By not doing that, there was no players who could physically get to the end zone, so there was no way of scoring. So you need to make sure there is somebody there to score.
Maybe after this game we'll go back and pull that turn up because the replays they
Yeah.
go sideways if you try and watch a whole game, but you can usually isolate a single turn and make it look okay. So we can have a look at it. Some good advice that I was given that I try to share with people in general is like every turn. Again, good advice that I don't always follow. So it's definitely a do as I say, not as I do advice because we all do the wrong thing sometimes. But good advice is every turn, like start by asking yourself, what turn is it? And then what's the blitz going to be? And I think on that turn, if you'd ask yourself the question, it's turn 7, what's the blitz going to be? Like you probably would have thought quite quickly following that line, well, I need to have a scoring threat in because it's turn 7. And I can use a blitz to free up a second player to carry the ball. So that way I've got a chance to pick it up on a 3+. And if that fails, I've got the chance to do a 3+3+ to do it. So yeah, it's very much like situation dependent. It depends what the board looks like. But I think that starting point for making decisions is a really like helpful framework. Like just start the turn by going, what turn is it?
Yeah.
And what do you think my blitz is? Um, so
Thinking ahead, yeah, absolutely. Always think about, um, you know, where do you want to be by the end of the turn,
mhm.
right? So like Thulian was not past the line of scrimmage several turns in, and we were saying by turn 6 we really do want to be moving forward now, really, and it's starting to struggle. But for the first couple of turns, it didn't matter that he wasn't past the line of scrimmage,
Yeah,
so that was fine. So yeah, it's always thinking about what you want to be going for?
Yeah, I think that's also a fair comment from Jimmy. I think like Soultide probably could have played more aggressively on turn 6 as well, thinking about scoring. I think Soultide was still slightly in the mindset of just like stopping the humans when the humans were already in such a bad spot. I think they
Yeah.
probably could have afforded to be a bit more aggressive and be like, okay, let's really push hard on turn 6 because that'll set up turn 6 and turn 7 and 8 to be easier. Um, I think that's like a totally like understandable thing to do as well, because again, Soultide has said they're not as experienced of a player. They know they're playing a really experienced player. Like that's all stuff that might make you like be more cautious and not take risks. And I think that like we've seen that a couple of times. Like when I said the term when Soultide pushed the blitzers off and didn't leave them based, I think some of that just comes from a position of caution. And I think it's
Yeah.
like you can go two ways as a when you're not sure, can't you? You can be like too gung ho, or you can be too cautious. And I think maybe like there's been a tiny bit of extra caution when they could be a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, definitely. And the whole question of following and or not following is, again, it's another one of those decisions where you don't think it really makes that much of a difference, but actually it could be game changing, which is very strange to say about one small decision, but there's so many things that could change depending on whether you followed or not. Like you say, by not following a blitzer, it was then let off and could move around when
Yeah.
it could have been marked. So yeah.
And again, like these things aren't limited to like just like inexperience either. I mean, like again, Jimmy's in chat. Jimmy called me out on a Team England warm-up game I played against some dwarfs earlier this year, where I was in a position to win the game and I didn't push hard enough for the win and I got a draw, and I should have pushed harder. So I do that still all the time. I get overly worried about making a mistake, and that stops me from making the more aggressive play I need to make to get a win sometimes. I think like the line between when to take risks and when not to, and like understanding how big the risks is and how big the rewards are, like all of that is like the whole core of Blood Bowl, and it's a really complicated game that no one fully has like mastered, right? Everyone gets that balance wrong all the time.
And I'd like to say put up what halftime OJ said about at least he's stopped Thulian's drive and has an advantage. Absolutely, as somebody who said at the beginning that they are a bit newer and to go a bit easy on them, they've done very well for the
Yeah.
circumstances they've found themselves.
I don't think they're playing like someone who's brand new to this either, by the way. I think they're playing a
No,
pretty
I don't
solid
think
game.
so
So
either.
yeah. And I think they are in a pretty good position as well with a second guard blitz leaving the pitch. They're in a pretty good position here to see this out for a win, even with all these things we're saying about, oh, maybe that was wrong or that could have been better. Like they're in a really good spot. So
Yeah.
definitely not wanting to be overly critical at all.
No. But yeah, converting the drive, regardless of whether you did or didn't score, is still really good. And
Yeah,
so
getting the
yeah,
start. Yeah.
and the humans are starting to fill up their KO box again. So this might.
Yeah, this is really tough for Thelian now because Thelian's down 2 guard. They're completely outstrengthed. They've now got less guard than the Chaos as well. And they've got an extra strength 2 player on the pitch who's also a halfling. I mean, I suppose the advantage of the halfling is if you get desperate, you can lob it at the cage, which we might get there. We've seen that in this competition be successful at least once. But yeah, the strength advantage on the pitch is really starting to be felt with those guard pieces going off.
Oh, absolutely. It's a little narrow, but I don't think it's
The
to a
Chaos.
point where you can take a massive advantage over it. I think that tackle piece is just far over enough, like only just, to stop Thulian from just completely flooding behind.
I'm really interested to see how Thelian will play it. So this is the Ogre not having block is good for Thelian here. Because yeah, this is an interesting choice. When you're like down players, you're bringing this in, and it's like a bit of a gamble, but I like it. Like you're putting the squeeze on here, and and you're kind of trying to force the chaos to go this way. And if it works, even with fewer players, you can end up forcing them into a dead end. Yeah, I think it's one of the fun bits of watching a really good player when they get into tight spots. You look at what they do and you think, oh, that's interesting. Like, what's the plan here? And I think that's exactly what you were just saying about, like, is it the pitch a bit narrow? I think that Thulian's trying to make the pitch even more narrow for Soultide here.
Yeah. Halftime OJ would says, what would we do if we were Soultide?
This is where I hold up my hands and say, like, I'm really not someone who's used to playing the bash teams. I feel like you're in a position now where you can afford to be doing a decent amount of basing and getting into the humans' faces, because then you put them in positions where they can't hit you back and they have to dodge away. But that does require turn planning to make sure you're not just giving them up hits.
Yeah. I mean,
I would probably on turn 11 prefer to be more central than this as the chaos.
I was going to say, yeah, I was just trying to see if there's a way of getting a bit more central than we currently are. The ogre's probably the biggest problem.
But you can hit this ogre, right? Like, you don't have to run away from it.
Can.
So
yeah, you don't have to move away from it, but you will have to dedicate quite a few. I don't. Yeah, starting to push forward. I feel like that gives Thulian a bit more to squeeze from.
I think that's, yeah, this looks like you're at risk of walking into Thulian's trap. The problem is also for Thulian, you could just keep losing players because they get punched. So
Yeah.
so maybe it'll be all right.
Yeah, that bonehead though is a bit of a problem.
Hyperbrain, great question. If people enjoy the tournament, and my feeling is people are enjoying it, I would definitely love to run it again. And I might even look at running it twice a year instead of once a year. So that might depend on whether people are only interested if there's a World Championship ticket. It might depend on whether there is a possibility to get a second World Championship ticket to do 2 tournaments, which are all questions I can't answer until later. But it does feel like people have really enjoyed the premise, and it certainly is, like, really fun for, like, commentary that we get every single matchup looking different, right? Because there's only maximum 3 of every team in the tournament, and we've made sure that none of them are in the same groups. It's really fun that, like, you're just getting total diversity of the matchups every game. So
it's so nice to have every team, because it just means that you haven't got 1,000 of one team, and so all of them, like a good 60% of them have the same roster. So okay, we've got another lizard team with 6 block and another lizard team with 6 block.
Yeah,
it's so nice to have that variety.
So yeah, I'm really pleased that everyone's been into it, and I definitely would like to run it again. So watch this space is the short answer, I guess.
And hopefully there'll be some more teams in the game to choose from.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, well, there should be more teams coming all the time. Is there a hit on the ball here? Oh my goodness, that's. I think we're looking at a chain push here. Well, it's fine because you've got block, but I think we were looking at a chain push here. I think we're looking to push this into here. Where's the second hit? Or even, oh, hang on.
Yep, the reroll.
Oh my god.
Oh no!
Oh my god. What is this? I think that's at least 4 now on the double skulls for Thulian.
We need to check these doubles. There should be a double counter.
Like, the fact that, like, you pass the loner as well, like, that's just brutal.
Where did they buy the box? I don't know.
I think there was almost certainly a fun play on there that Thulian had seen, from the fact that Thulian put the reroll into it. We didn't get all the way through it, but I'm imagining you were either pushing something out the cage or pushing one of your players into the cage. From this angle, I wonder if it's pushing out rather than in. Maybe there was even a serving opportunity going this way. I don't quite see how you're getting a good hit on the ball, but I might be missing it.
I didn't realise there was a halfling on the pitch.
Yeah, it came on at half time.
Oh, of course it did, yes.
But yeah, instead we lost a catcher.
Oh, this is starting to look.
And
it's dicey a bit.
Yeah. Brutal. Brutal start for Thelian here to the tournament. Could put him in a really tough spot for getting out of this group. Can't remember off the top of my head who the other teams in this group are. Check after. Where's J-Lev when you need him? J-Lev knows all the groups.
I might have it. Do I have it on my phone?
Ball goes through. Is this... that's gone further than I think it maybe should have done. This looks like it's not going to be safe. Which, given how strong the position is on the pitch, is a bit not great.
So we've got, sorry, I've just found the group. We've got Casual Violence and Gengar also in the team.
Oh, okay, so that's Corn and...
I'm assuming Dark Elves?
I think it's Dark Elves.
Elves.
Yeah, I think that's
So
Dark Elves
that's Dark Elves.
for Bryden, yeah. Oh, I really don't think this board is safe.
Oh, that doesn't look...
I mean, it's going to require something... Well, it's just a 3+. 3+ for 1 dice. 3+, or it's either 3+ 1 dice or do it twice for 2 dice. I think given how strong the position was, you just didn't need to give yourself that kind of risk. This could have been in a cage. This didn't have to push this far forward, given the removals actually, like... Another fail. No. Finally makes a dodge. Okay. We're going for the 2 dice.
Yep.
Another fail.
You gotta
get there in the end.
Yeah. The rerolls.
Does get the knockdown.
Gets down. So this is again another one of those choices. Do you take the POW or the both down?
I was just wondering that, like the both down scattering this way. I don't know what.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you're trying to get it towards the sideline, because scattering it out is kind of your dream scenario, but you can't do it off this hit because you're 3 in. Because scatter out might genuinely get you the draw.
On that goat. Oh, well, doesn't. But if it had landed in the goat's tackle zone, then that could have been an issue.
These stuns are really like a nightmare, right? If you even had that to come in.
He's got one more player who's that thrower.
His thrower, and I wonder if you just
get there because it's all tackle zones.
You've only got 1 reroll as well. Like if you had more rerolls, maybe you try and get this off again. But I feel like this is like a desperate plea for something fails by the sideline and the ball goes out, because that is like one way you really could avoid losing here is if that ball goes out of bounds. Other than that, it's still. Still a bit desperate. Okay, so we blitz with the mighty blow. That's block on block, so just take the push.
Do you just go straight for the pickup here, or do you try and do something else?
I would definitely be looking to move these players first that you can move without. Ogre, maybe just create a sandwich on this one with the guard. You could surf that, but I think it's a waste of a player. I think this needs to come forward. I'm just not actually sure myself what the best square for it is.
BB not is advocating for the surf.
You could leave this till last if you want to double rush it at the end of the turn. That's okay. You've got block.
Yeah, they've got wrestle.
Yeah. So now you could bring this round and make this a full like guard sandwich on that. You need this to be picking this up still. I kind of want to rush this, but maybe I even would with 3 reels rush that before picking the ball up. Okay, I mean standing on something's doing something, yeah. I guess if you just take this and stand here, you're giving them 4+ up. You don't want to stand that close to the sidelines. You want to be at least here, I think, which you can do without rushes. There's
There's
nothing
already a
that's
goat
coming
that's
around
free
this
to play
way.
ball shepherd.
Don't
The
think
one
you're
that's 2
taking that.
squares above that is free to pick the
Fails the
ball up,
pick
so
up.
you don't even
Huge
have to.
roll now.
Yeah, you gotta
Makes it.
re-roll that.
Makes it.
There it is.
Oh,
I
Shepherd
wonder
wanted
if
to
he's
blitz for the serve. I think you need to come
yeah.
up because the moment this is still a 3+ out, so I think you want to make it a 4+, and you want to be away from the
Stand
sideline.
there, probably.
Just don't be at the sideline because that's how you can lose this. Oh, we're just going for it.
Oh!
Oh my god.
Oh!
Oh my god.
I
Oh
was
my
not expecting
god.
them to go for the score.
Apo
Serious injury
fails.
still. It's still
Goes
serious
out.
injury.
Where's it going? Could
Oh my
this be
goodness.
an absolute lifeline for the humans? It is. I mean, that is not like an easy recovery for them, but it's definitely not easy territory for the chaos either. What a
Oh
swing. Oh
dear.
wow. I mean, if this ogre cooperates, you could knock both of these down and pick it up on this player and be over here. So if you get a block with the ogre, bring the halfling here, blitz with the
Yeah.
wrestle, this genuinely could win the game for the humans. Like it could go full from loss to win. Yeah, I understand going for that double rush, and I don't think it's like strictly wrong or anything because like there's no way you can put the ball that's going to be completely safe from a sack, right? So for 2+, you go 1-0 up, and then you're almost certainly at least going to draw at that point, right? Like you've almost got that pretty close to guaranteed. But I think I would have just stood here, which would have meant it would be a 4+ to 1 dice the ball. There was nothing else that was going to get up here and catch it. And then even if the humans make the 4+ and 1 dice the ball, where are they going, right? Like you've got all your players around. It's not like they can run off and take it somewhere. I think like the risk of it going out of bounds is like just the one way that things can really go wrong for you, which is why it's the one thing I would have been trying to avoid. But yeah, I don't think it was like dead wrong to go for the score or anything, but I think I wouldn't have. I'm going to take the 3 dice in the ogre. The problem is if you get a push on the ogre here, it will put them next to the ball, but you don't. That's why you made it a 3 dice. Goodness, what a
Any one of
game.
those.
How many great games
like,
we've had in this tournament?
I think it's not even just like great games, but insane games. Like,
Yeah.
this has mostly been insane because of how many double scores have been thrown, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just been ridiculous.
I think the other thing this game does, which like I always come back to over and over again, is like good coaches like Thelian, like even when things look completely awful, which this has looked completely awful at times, just don't give up. Like just keep looking for what's the thing I can do. And yeah, they got that sack on the ball, which I think that was Soltide's big mistake. That just shouldn't have been available, that sack on the ball. And they
all the rushes.
and that's going to feel so bad for Soltide when you've just snaked into the end zone, watch them do that. But I think it's a different situation, right? So I think that for Thulian, it was right to do those rushes because you just want to not give that a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I think
it's taking the failed dodge, which is understandable. You got 1 reroll left, for 3 turns now. So
just to explain that a bit better, like because I can completely see from Soltide's point of view, if they watch this back, they might be feeling like that's so unfair. Like my rush fails here and theirs doesn't. Like the thing is here, like if Thulian fails this, they don't want to fail it. But if Thulian fails it, he's kind of achieved his goal anyway of getting the ball far away. The problem with the rush into the end zone is just that the downside is so bad. Like the downside of a failed rush here is nowhere near as bad for Thulian as the downside is here.
Yeah, we had a tripwire BB nut and it injured the goat. So it was a really unfortunate one. He didn't do what Daly did and didn't go in the corner though, so that was the one thing. But...
Oh my god, yeah, 2 tripwires in 2 days. Blood Bowl.
Was it a double rush? I feel like it was only a 1.
This one, I think it was double rush. I think
was
it was double rush, yeah. I don't know if I've gone to the right place. I'm lost in the dice log. Yeah, yeah, double rush because rush there and then another
Oh
rush.
yeah.
Oh, and I genuinely, I'm like obviously like, good for Thulian, well done sticking at it and rescuing it. But it's hard not to feel a bit sad for Sultai, dude. Would
Yeah.
have thought that that was in the bag for them.
VAR.
Mort's banana peels. Where's Mr. Page when we need him? Mort's banana peels reminding you that rushes aren't free movement since 1704. Am I going to get in trouble for stealing Mr. Page's line? Crowd threw a boulder. Yeah. Team England fans in the crowd checking boulders. Oh my goodness. Well, that's how you get to the
Ooh.
ball.
Yeah.
I think you reroll
Do
that
you put
now.
the reroll into
Yeah, I think
this?
so.
I feel like you have to.
Do you? I mean, the humans probably will get it back. That's a tough one. Doesn't get it.
Does throw only gets pushes. That's
Yeah. I mean, you never know. Thelian could double skull again. He's rolled a few.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, this has been the double skulls game.
Thanks for the follow so much.
You're just quoting me, quoting Mr. Page is fine.
So I think this is just a blitz it free. You
Yeah.
might 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now does Thulian think about scoring here despite the fact there's a rush into the end zone? Because I don't know if you can be fully out of range of this. You can't. So a dilemma for Thulian on this turn.
Yeah.
Double rush the end zone. It's exactly what we just saw fail the other way. I think I'd probably prefer not, and then you can try and use other players to make that harder. Especially because you know that the Chaos know how to reels. The Chaos we just did, we didn't really talk about it, but there was some crazy dodges for that beast to get there, by the way. That was
It absolutely was, yeah.
That was a 4+, a 4+, 3+, which again, by the way, like crazy dodges, but that was like the right thing to do, right? If that's the option you've got, that's the option you take. Like, and now maybe I'd okay, just do a dodge. Yeah, that's better. That's better. I was thinking uphill with that to free the ogre, but that's just better what they did. So, so now that's got really hard dodges to get there. Yeah, me too, Shepherd. Me too. Like, and now dodging the ogre. Oh my god, it was going to be an ogre foul. It was an ogre foul. Just get rid of, because that's the one player that can hit the ball. I guess this one can as well, but one of the two and slightly easier maybe. So you got 1 4+ instead of 2.
Hard at this point because like there's only a few turns left, so we know what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So there's not really much to sort of like commentate on as much.
Yeah, I don't know what. I don't know if you. I think you probably just go for this. Like, I think you probably just 4+, 3+, 2+, 2+.
Because otherwise you've got 4+4+, 3+.
Yeah. Yeah. If you force them to score next turn, like the problem is that like for the humans, if they score next turn, they're only giving you 1 turn back, so they don't mind scoring next turn. So there's not really any like in some situations you might think, okay, force them to score and I'll get 2 turns back, but because this was actually the Chaos team's drive,
yeah,
you don't have that. So I think you just have to go for the ball one way or the other, which it's either 4+4+, 3+2+, or it's 4-3-2-2. So this one's slightly better.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. Timeout kickoff event can happen, but even with 2 turns, the chaos would struggle, right? They've got no rerolls, so
But that again is only if they score next turn rather than
yeah,
waiting until the last turn. Obviously, you don't get
yeah.
kickoff events. What are they doing? Gotta do it. There we go.
Goes for it, doesn't
Oh,
make it. Yeah, it's a real like thought here. Well, Thulian's got a reroll. I was just thinking, does Thulian even bother, or do they just score now because the 1 turns? They just score. Yeah. I
yes, you're
think
right. They did get the 4+, but they failed the 3+.
yeah. I'm totally okay with that. Just score and say, look, it's even if the Chaos get a timeout, which is unlikely, it's going to be such a hard touchdown. Whereas
I don't think that player got stunned from the dodge. I might be wrong, but I didn't think it got stunned, so it could have gotten up the next turn very easily.
3-2, 3-2-2 with GFIs from where? Because the one that he went with needed both GFIs, even doing the 4-3. I don't know if the one on this side could have done it. I didn't count it. I don't think so.
No, they could have done it from the other side.
Yeah.
It just would have.
I think there wasn't enough movement. I think.
Either they would have just marked it or wouldn't have reached the mark.
Yeah.
Unless they did another dodge, which would be 3-3-2.
Wouldn't have hated blitz then tag.
Yeah. That also.
Maybe. But Thulian's got a 3+ with a reroll to dodge in the worst case, and if you don't break armor, they've got a 2 dice block to clear. None of it's great. Like, none of it's great. We haven't had a timeout. We've got friends with the ref, which is for argue the call, so won't make any difference in this one. Flip me, Thulian. Thulian's in chat. Oh my goodness, why not end the game on one more double skull?
Another double skull. Why not? We'll end with that.
Oh my god, yeah, well done at hanging in there, Thulian. That was quite a situation to rescue. Incredible game to watch. You two rolled an insane number of double skulls between you.
It's another one. Oh my goodness.
But yeah.
Wow, what better way to end this insane game than 2 fails?
What better way to end it than I think it's crashed?
Oh, even better.
With screen frozen. Oh dear. Well, it's fine. We can go back to the menu.
I didn't roll the armor.
No, it's crashed. Like, it's frozen on that. But yeah, wow, what a game. Let's go out and have a look at the menu stats, because there will be some things to look at for sure in that one. Yeah, thanks for the entertaining game to watch, Thulian, and Soultide, if you drop in as well. That was crazy. What group are we looking at? I can't remember. I feel like it's one of these later ones.
But I might need to double check that one.
Nope.
Sorry, that's my fault.
It's
N.
Thank you, Venus Fairy and Dizzy. Okay, so if we bring up the history, dice rolls. So skulls, like on their own, the skulls don't look crazy, right? Like you expect to have about they look much more crazy on this side actually, because you expect to have about twice as many pushes as you have skulls, which is what you have here.
Yeah.
You expect to have similar-ish on the other ones, which are similar-ish, like slightly more skulls. Yeah. Definitely worse for Thulian. Like Thulian's got
absolutely
fewer on here. But like, I'm pretty certain that Soultide rolled at least 3 double skulls. I think Thulian had 4.
I think they did, but they just were less they were just more balanced with the rest of the dice. And
Yeah.
obviously threw a lot more blocks.
Thelian also
Um,
had horrible dodging. So like, yeah, there was definitely a point where it felt like really nothing was going your way, Thelian. Um, and gosh, um, what did the block numbers look like in the end? Yeah, good number of blocks for the chaos. The removals weren't that surprising. But then Thelian might have had more blocks, so they didn't keep double sculling. um, oh my god, Thelian. Oh, do you know what? Maybe you can talk us through what the plan was in that turn. I was curious because I could see you were planning a chain push, but I hadn't worked it out yet. And then you re-rolled it into a double skull, which is, yeah, as you say, icing on the cake after failing after making the loner. Sorry. Can you? I'd quite like to look at turn 7 again because we said we would, but let's skip to this one first. Can you tell us what you were planning? Because I love getting to the plan on stuff like this. So this is where we were, and I could see you lining up a chain push, but I didn't have time to work out what it was you were aiming to push. So this is either pushing this up or it's pushing this out. I guess it's pushing this up. Or are you pushing this in and doing more chain? I'm guessing it's this one out. Yeah, go on, jump in. Have I given you the role on the Discord? Hang on. If you go into the general voice channel, I can pull you in. If it's not hassle. But yeah, I would love to get your hello, Therian.
Hi.
Yes. Yeah, this
I'm going to mute the stream or else I'll start hearing myself.
I was fascinated by this turn because I was looking at it being like, oh, there's definitely a plan. What were you thinking?
Yeah, so I put the catcher in front of my other catcher. The naked catcher goes in front of there.
Uh-huh.
Then if the ogre pows, I can push his warrior into my... Push that into the ogre, into the block warrior, into my catcher, I think, or into his mighty blow guy, and then
I was just doing your volume. Could you say that again quickly? Sorry. So you're pushing
okay,
here.
Yeah. So the ogre pows the warrior.
Yeah.
Which pushes into his ogre, which pushes his block warrior.
Yeah.
Into the mighty blow guy. Then I think that gives me 2 dice on the guard goat.
From here, yeah. Wait, yeah, makes sense, yeah, because you brought this in and that's there, yeah.
And then that's a 1 dice on the ball, I think.
So
or if I follow with that wrestle.
You've come here, you've gone here. I wish I had a pen.
Oh, well, the this is blocking the
this has gone
pathway.
Here, and that's here. I think maybe you still need to move this one because this will be here, and this will be blocking everything's. Oh, maybe
so
not.
The attack on mighty could hit.
No, maybe not. Like, because if this is here, then you just need to move this out, and you can just step in here for 1 dice. So yeah, I think you have got 1 dice in the ball.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
And you can even do it with the guard, which then might help you to hit that afterwards.
Wouldn't the ogre be in that square?
Oh, you're right. The ogre's in the square. The ogre is in the square. Yes, because the ogre's pushed that. So you've got that in the way. So maybe you do need to...
So you would hope that the block, when you hit with the ogre, that it doesn't go down. And then you hit the guard goat into the square next to the ball, and you could potentially chain push.
So you're hoping this doesn't go down. It's here. Then you've got...
And you could chain push it out.
You could chain push it out, but there's no one to come around and get it. It might be tricky.
The block piece and stuff, so...
Yeah, no ball hit. But you know what? Even if you don't get a ball hit out of this, I think I still like it. Because if you're pushing these out, you might, if there's not a ball hit, just serve one of them. And if not, you've certainly completely disrupted their cage. But yeah, I think you're right that actually this ogre being on the floor means it's going to be in the way. unless I'm missing
Yeah,
something.
I kind of felt at this point like I was getting pretty wrecked, so I had to do something. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, you did the right thing in a couple of turns after this, and saved it by putting the pressure on, getting the sack, and then caused your opponent
well,
that
yeah,
one
I think
moment of maybe pushing harder than they needed to, and getting the
it
thing.
was a pretty big mistake from Solitide, right? Just to leave the double 3+ to hit the ball.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, that was the key point, really.
I think that was absolutely the thing. So this was the other thing which we wanted to talk about was not turn 8, turn 7. So Soultide, you might not have heard this because we said start stream. Soultide, when I was asking about streaming this game, did message me and say, look, I haven't been playing the game that long, so just be gentle. And I was like, absolutely, don't worry about that at all. But we're just trying to like show things that maybe are like helpful for learning. And I was saying on turn 7, I would have really liked to see, hang on, we start turn 7. Would have really liked to see a scoring threat in before they go for the pickup.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
this is still your turn. So turn 7. All right, we're at the start of turn 7 here. So, what are your options here? So you can stand that up, and you've got that 2 dice. You've got this one tagged on here. So I think what we are, it's a little bit less clear than I thought it was. It is a little bit less clear than I thought it was. I thought you had a goat free somewhere. Well, you can use this one as the free one.
I think it was later on in the
No,
turn.
this is okay. Actually, this is okay. So I think what I like here then is if you bring in, because you can't move something into the scoring range right away except for maybe this, which you could do, but it's going to require rushes still. So I think what I prefer to start this turn is bring this over here and then take this block with block right away because it's your safest action. You haven't got any rerolls, so that's only going to fail 1 out of 36 times. And if you make that, then this one just goes into scoring range. And then you can worry about standing this up. Well, that's a lie. Stand these up right away because they're not doing anything else. But you can worry about taking the blitz on these and trying to pick up with one of these 2 and move down. So probably you're standing that up, take that block for 2 dice, blitz this and try and pick up on it. Because at least you know then that if you fail this 3+ pickup, this one's already moved into scoring range. So you have some chance to score afterwards. I think that's what I would do. I mean, you could even, if you wanted to, also just move this down without rolling any dice because you don't need it for the assist here. You're using that one. And even though it's not a great scoring threat because it has to do rushes, it's still a scoring threat. So I think I would have probably done those things. This goes here. This moves down and is a scoring threat. Take this 2 dice block, make that as a better scoring threat. Then, having already stood these up, take that block, take that blitz, and try and pick up and carry into range. I think that's the order I would have gone with.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, just priorities and thinking about those things. And then I actually made a mistake on the next turn. I left the chain push on. Whoopsie.
Did you?
Yeah.
There was. I don't. I'm not saying this to call you out because these things are really easy to do. But like I thought this turn there was a chain push to open your cage up. At the end of this turn. Are we on their turn yet? Where are we? No, that's your turn. So start of turn 2, I guess it must have been. Here, I think if he takes this block here, and then the ogre cooperates, you can push that onto your cage corner.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
So if Soultide sees it, these are the sorts of things that you definitely don't pick up when you're newer to the game. But yeah, it was just a bit of a squash, wasn't it? And when you start seeing that squash, your brain starts going, I wonder if, and yeah, there was something there. Anyway, don't know if there's any other turns you wanted to talk about while you're here.
Nope, it was a game to forget for me.
You rolled so many double skulls, honestly. Like the fact that you found a way, even if it required a bit of a mistake by your opponent's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's hard to stay mentally strong in those kind of situations, isn't it? When you're just rolling awful dice all the time. So.
Yeah, I said that at one point. Like that's like one of the things that I think is like really like the thing that is a marker of lots of really good coaches is like, even when the game is going awfully, like don't just give up on it. Like, so yeah, you benefited from a mistake that was made, but you still have to be ready to take the advantage of it when it happens. And yeah, you did that, so well done.
Thank you. I find it much easier on tabletop to do that than online. Online, it's just like, right, fuck it, I'm just looking at a blank piece of screen and it doesn't really matter, I'll just walk away. But
yeah,
you can't do that on tabletop because
Yeah,
definitely
social etiquette and all that.
Yeah, I hope Soultide will watch it back if they like want to, because I know they were like saying like don't be mean and everything. Like I definitely don't think we were mean, and I hope we were like saying some things that would be helpful to like learn from. Like all of us make so many mistakes all the time in this game, even when we have played for a long time, and the only way like you make fewer of them over time is by looking at it and learning from them, I guess. Like that's how we all learn. So hopefully they'll find it useful.
A lot of the like mistakes that were made are mistakes that many of us have made many a time.
Yeah.
Like it's not a unique experience. It's
Right.
very common to go through that. So we've all been there, and we all know what it was like to be, though, just starting on the game and like getting to grips with all the strategies and everything. And it's hard to do. It's hard
And
to.
like they were 2+ away from winning, or at least like win or drawing, right? Like if they get that touchdown. So like it's not like they were making like terrible plays all the time in that. Like it's just a close game that came down to that roll in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. Well, thank you everyone. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I hope it was a fun one to watch. And yeah, hit that like and subscribe.